Hello Chicagoans, and welcome to this urgent update news segment from the History Investigation Squad. This Tuesday night we have finally gotten things as much under control as could be. The fire has ravaged a region of 4 miles long and 1 mile wide, leaving rampant destruction in its wake. After careful investigation, we have narrowed down our list of suspects, the most probable being Mr. and Mrs. Patrick O'Leary of 13 DeKoven Street. Now to Kaylee, our reporter at the suspected source of the crime.
And we are here at the O'Leary's Barn, 13 DeKoven Street in Chicago, where we have evidence that a lantern has been knocked over by a cow.
And this is the suspected culprit.
What do you mean? I don't even know what you're talking about.
So the cow really isn't owning up to the deed, so we're just going to have to investigate a little bit further.
So, Mr. Pony, have you heard anything about this? Good to know.
So, Mr. Owl, what have you heard about the O'Leary's barn? Alright, sounds good.
No evidence here. Mr. Goat! Mr. Goat! Okay, Mr. Goat's being a little distant.
You heard anything about this? Okay, good.
The cow seems to have an anger management problem.
Dude, wasn't it so sick when I kicked that lantern over?
Thank you, reporters, and now back to the city for some victim interviews.
Oh my gosh, Patricia, I'm so scared.
I know, me too. Like, what just happened?
I don't know, but my house is burning down.
I know, same with mine. It's gone.
All the wooden houses are gone now.
What do you think is going to happen next?
I don't know.
People are scared to death. The initial cause of why the fire got so out of control was due to the fact that the firefighters were sent to the wrong neighborhood. Also, they had been exhausted from dealing with the fire the day before. Luckily, 2 days later, October 10th, rain fell and subsided the fire.
As wood is a cheap and abundant source for construction here in the cities, all the buildings are prone to be burnt down. In all, 17,500 buildings were ruined. Over 300 people died, 100,000 people homeless, which is a third of the population, 73 miles of road wrecked, and a whopping $200 million worth of property destroyed. The whole central business district has been demolished also. Only time will tell what will be in store for our great city.
We're back here 20 years later to examine the aftermath of the Great Chicago Fire.
The restoration of Chicago after the fire was known as the Great Rebuilding. Reverend Robert Collier is known for saying to his congregation outside of what once was their church, "We have not lost first our geography. Nature called the lakes, the forests, the prairies together in convention long before we were born, and they decided that on this spot a great city would be built."
Although the entire business district was wrecked, the stockyards and new packing plants were unaffected, which proved to be very important for the city, as it was known as the hog butcher of the world. Additionally, most of the wharfs, lumber yards, and mills were upheld, along with the majority of grain elevators. Thus, these industries kept the city surviving, giving citizens jobs and such. Most railroads weren't ruined by the blaze, so packages from all around the country and world were able to come to Chicago.
Chicago's reconstruction began right away. Laws were also passed that commanded the use of fireproof materials such as stone or brick while building. Two events hindered the first phase of reconstruction: the failure of J. Cook Bank in 1873 and a smaller fire in 1874. Terracotta clay emerged as an effective building material. Also fireproof, it made Chicago one of the most fireproof cities in the country by the mid-1880s.
The architects of Chicago worked to appease the needs of commercial businessmen. They wanted plain-looking features, as those were the most economical choice compared to ornate decorations. This style became known as the Chicago School of Architecture. The construction of the world's first skyscraper occurred in 1884.
5 nights ago, when we were all in bed, Mrs. O'Leary left the lantern in the shed, and when the cow kicked it over, she winked her eye and said, "There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. Fire, fire, fire! Pour on water, save my children, jump, lady, jump, splat!"
A collective sense of fear, paranoia, and anger also creeped its way into the minds of the people. Criminals from outside Chicago felt inclined to participate in the diminished condition that the city suffered from. Many citizens, including those of the upper class, wanted authority reinstated as soon as possible. In response to this, Mayor Mason elected Lieutenant General Philip H. Sheridan to be in charge of security of the city. The mayor then allocated the Chicago Reef and Aid Society to control the relief effort. This organization dealt out various goods such as construction supplies and tools, built housing for the homeless poor, and vaccinated many for smallpox.
The Great Rebuilding led to a variety of physical alterations in surrounding Chicago. The downtown area included taller and more individual buildings, while commercial and residential regions along with neighborhoods became more distinct. So, even though the cow ruined everything,
Chicago was still able to come back bigger and better than before.